Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Pangolin Advisor, also known as Panchasu, and I will show you how I obliterate my enemies as the Hissho in Endless Space 2. We will be playing with every DLC enabled, that being the Supremacy and the Voters expansion pack, with no modifications enabled, and obviously we're going to be playing on the highest difficulty the game has to offer, that being the Endless difficulty. Moreover, every other difficulty setting in the game, that being the Pirate difficulty, as well as the Minor Faction difficulty, is also going to be set to be as high as humanly possible. However, with this in mind, I would like to point out that this video, and this series in fact, is not meant to be a playthrough / tutorial series like I did in the past on my old channel. I realized after a while that in order to create tutorial videos, I need to create bite-sized short tutorial videos, and I have those on my channel. Feel free to check them out, and feel free to ask me to record any other tutorial videos. This, however, is a playthrough. I'll try to complete it in a timely fashion, and of course I will play to the best of my ability, but I will not explain every single thing that I do, because that would just slow you down, and if you watch those kind of videos, then you don't really care about any tutorial value they may have. So, without any further ado, let us jump right to it.
From the beginning, a warrior prepares for sacrifice. Touched by blood, the sword becomes the soul of its wielder. We fight free of our past as gladiators and slaves, to seek our own renown and honor, to follow our own gods. For the warrior walks a path, but the blade foresees it and remembers it. The blade, however, like the warrior, has its own secrets.
That was the introduction. That plays whenever you start your game as the Hissho, and I decided to let you watch it in peace, knowing that if you didn't care, you would just skip it, in the video. So without any extra ado, let us begin. I will mention one thing, however, regarding my audio quality. Please leave feedback regarding, audio quality. That is because ever since I changed my recording software, I noticed there are some issues that I have been trying to resolve. Hopefully they are fine now. I have run a few tests before I started recording today, and it seemed alright, but you can never know and you can never trust the game. Not the game, but the software. I don't know what I'm even getting at. Let us ignore that. You should just let me know how I sound, if it is okay or if there's something that could be improved. I'll of course listen to the result myself, but every extra bit of advice helps. Anywho, I started by exploring the curiosities on my home system, and will also certainly need to retrofit my colony ship in order to make it actually able to colonize things in a timely fashion, as I certainly don't want to be waiting forever for this thing to colonize something. We are obviously the Hissho, and as such we're absolutely pathetic when it comes to colonizing anything there is to colonize. With that in mind, there are some things that will allow us to overcome our weaknesses, by which I mean we can simply go ahead and conquer every single system we want to. And I will intend to do just that. I'm thinking right now which way I want to spec my hero, because it's been some time since I had to restart a game as the Hissho. I knew I was playing as some other factions lately, but before I make this decision, I'm just going to send my brood ship out into the middle of space, hoping that it finds something interesting, and it found a system it can colonize straight away. It might not be the best system there is. I'm going to check it out right now. Well, it is not bad, it already has a source of titanium. Of course, I have discovered a source of titanium on my home system as well. However, Emacs, well, every bit of extra titanium helps. I am planning to make a lot of fighting ships, warships if you want to call them, and for that reason this titanium will be extraordinarily useful. That being said, I am tempted to colonize the jungle just because it is a bigger planet, but because the forest has more food, I'll take it. Food is extremely important when you colonize anything as the Hissho, because the Hissho only produce half of their food output whenever they try to colonize a new planet. They are really bad at it. Moreover, in order to colonize a planet, I'll need to spend key, but that is an issue for later, as the more I wait, the less key I will have to use. It's also interesting how I promised this would not be a guide or tutorial and just a regular playthrough, but I already find myself explaining every little bit that I do, and also kind of swimming in circles, doing random things. Anywho, what do I want to start the game with? I am very tempted to go for Hatched at Home. I don't necessarily need all this key, and Hatched at Home will allow me to produce ships and the early game improvements at an increased rate, and I usually go for it, so I'll do just that. Moreover, I can also activate the Way of the Obsidian Eagle, and this is another thing that is also very tempting. Also, speaking of heroes, I need to remind myself what this hero is again. I do have a very bad memory. He will lower my ship cost, which isn't necessarily bad at all in fact, which was a very weird way to put it. But I will not have him as a governor for the time being. I would rather have him explore as many systems as possible, and I will make him virtually defenseless to make the retrofit cheaper, as well as, well, pretty much that's all there is to it. I just want to make the retrofit cheaper. That being said, maybe, yeah, I can still keep on some weapons on top of him without losing too much, without actually increasing the upgrade cost. So let us give him some weapons. And that's about the limit of what I can give him for the time being. Well, at least he's got 2 weapons that will make him not absolutely awful. Keep it as it is, and then create, not assign the fleet, but rather create a new fleet on my home system. Now with a decent amount of speed, that being 8, he'll be able to explore new systems, and again I wanted to say a timely fashion. It seems that whenever I find a word or phrase that I particularly enjoy, I just keep using it over and over. So if you are a newcomer to my channel, you better prepare yourself for it, because I'm afraid this is something I cannot really change, nor do I really need to change it now, do I? Now lastly, my system has a bunch of production queued up, but I can also boost its production speed, and I'm going to do so by launching a mining probe at this ocean. And I'll also start gaining some extra titanium as a result of that. This mining probe will gather both titanium as well as a portion of Phthia of this planet. Now, I still can only gain drone networks and Xeno industrial infrastructure in 2 turns, but this will change if I activate the Way of the Obsidian Eagle. The downside of doing this is that of course I'll lose the loyal bonus, but high approval doesn't improve your industry production in any way, and at the start of the game it is a very good idea to have as much industry production as humanly possible. And with activating the Way of the Obsidian Eagle, I can now make drone networks in 1 turn and Xeno industrial infrastructure in 3. Again, this was not supposed to be as in-depth of a guide as it is right now. It's not really a guide, but it has some tutorial value. I guess I just cannot help my old ways. Anywho, let us also continue by researching something. Planetary landscaping is a very tempting idea, since I already have the ability to increase the amount of industry production I have. Public planet ships also a very important thing, but for the time being I want to grow my population as quickly as humanly possible, and with keeping in mind that my key is going to drop ever so lower because of my currently enacted laws, I will need to have the extra food production. Besides, the early game technology for increasing your food production, that being the one that gives you sustainable farms, is a very useful and powerful one indeed. Now I'm also going to design a few new ships, that being a new scout ship, which is going to be based around the Roost class chassis. And if you're wondering as to why I'm doing things in this particular way, I do encourage you to check out my fleet composition tutorial/guide that I already put out on this channel. How do I call this ship? Speedy sounds adorable and devious at the same time. Actually, I'm not sure if it sounds devious at all, but that's just how the cookie crumbles, I suppose. Let's modify my actual scout ship as well. Make it both faster and also make the upgrade cost as low as humanly possible. I need to have my dust. I'd rather not lose it needlessly. Moreover, I'm going to retrofit Paragreen to its new form. Did I take away its... No, it should still have a probe, right? I did leave a probe for and yes, I did. So it's still going to be able to launch probes. This ship cannot possibly be as fast as the other chassis, but again, this is something that I explained in my other video. I'll just let it sit here. In fact, instead of skipping a turn, I'm going to fill it with another probe. Equip it with another probe slot. Upgrade it again, wasting a bit of dust, but that was my indecisiveness. Now it's going to be able to generate more probes faster. Let's just wait for it to get more probes, and I'll use it to explore as many curiosities as I can in the vicinity of my home system. Meanwhile, I'm probably going to create a Speedy and start exploring as much of the galaxy as humanly possible. Again, using the phrase humanly possible a little bit too often to my own liking. I also found Yidix, which sounds like a little bit like a meme every time I say it. It does have a boreal planet, which isn't very good for industry, and a bunch of difficult to colonize planets. I would not care about the system at all if not for the fact that it has Hyperion, which is a useful thing to have. I'll probably create a colony ship to land on this system later and claim it as my own. Although I will admit, I would rather the AI steal the system from me. And the reason for that is that for the Hissho it is much faster and easier to conquer a system rather than to actually grow a system on your own. Hissho just don't like to wait and do things themselves. They want to, to have other people do things for them and just steal their heart and prizes. Anywho, this is our quest. I was in two minds whether I should read this out or not. It was a tempting one, but in the end I decided that it's important to speed this playthrough up as much as possible. So you can pause the video and read the text for yourself. If you'd rather I actually read this out aloud, feel free to let me know in the comments below this video. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and choose the strength option, as it is much easier to complete than using the faith option. I have not seen any minor factions up to this point. Using faith seems like, lost affair right from the get-go. Let's go ahead and explore another curiosity on my home system and find ourselves some super spots. Not a very bad thing to have, not a very good one either, but I suppose I'll take it for the time being and be on my way researching xenobiology. Now keep in mind, I don't need to do this, I already have access to the second era of science and exploration tree, but xenobiology honestly is just too good not to have. So I will grab it, and seriously, I regret saying that this video will just be a regular playthrough instead of playthrough/tutorial, because clearly I cannot help myself from explaining everything that I do every step of the way. I do try to hurry it up as much as possible, and again, if there is a particular topic that you would like to be explained, you can ask me in the comments, and if it's a short thing to explain, I'll just answer that. If it's a longer question, I might just record a video about it, because why not? I do enjoy making videos after all, and with my recent revival on YouTube and Twitch as well, I want to make as many of them as humanly possible whenever I can. I am a busy man, unfortunately, I cannot always record, but whenever I can, I try to record. Anywho, research is done. So far we're progressing rather quickly. I could grab this plasma metallurgy technology, I will need it at some point anyway, but I don't think it's immediately necessary for me. So let's instead think about what is immediately necessary for me. Probably something that doesn't require me to research it straight up, but that is yet to, by which I mean some kind of empire improvement that I don't need to necessarily make, but I think off-world agribusiness is probably the most tempting. It will allow me to start diplomatic talk with any minor faction I encounter. Moreover, Sender of the Obsidian Eagle is very good, and I will certainly make them on every single system I colonize at some point, sooner rather than later. My My scout ship Speedy has been created and I'm going to send it to scout this star lane that I wasn't able to explore in the past. Meanwhile, my other ship, that being the Peregrine, is going to explore yet another curiosity. Unfortunately, Peregrine is a rather slow ship because I did not install any engines on it, but being an exploration ship, it does get the inherent +2 bonus to its movement, allowing it to not be completely awful. I'll just check real quick if I have explored every curiosity there is on my home system, and indeed I have. So now I can go ahead and continue moving over to Mataraka. I always thought it was Matraka. Instead it's Mataraka. Well, live and learn. All it takes to learn apparently is just to read. But reading is difficult. And I sometimes don't, because it's too difficult. Alright, let's keep exploring the galaxy as far and wide as possible. Keep in mind that every system I find does give me some bonus key, which is very nice. We have obtained the quest that allows us to actually start creating behemoths. I do not actually want this quest to progress too much, as it will give AI access to behemoths, and right now I am the only empire in the galaxy that already has a behemoth. Granted, this being the basic behemoth, it is rather weak and puny, and doesn't have any of the destructive ergonomic capabilities of other behemoths, but it is good enough. And I still will enjoy the advantage of having the behemoth while the AI can only dream of such a feat. Right, let us grab ourselves a few more improvements. In fact, I will colonize a new planet as quickly as possible, as it will give me some more bonuses due to the improvements I already have, that being this infrastructure. I will also need, however, another ship with which I can colonize more planets. I do not like colonizing planets too much as the Hissho, so I'll try to avoid doing so, and I'll lure the AI into colonizing the planets for me. However, the Hyperion Edicts is a tempting one, and I'll need this Hyperion to create a bunch of support ships in the middle and late game. Alright, that's quite a few starlings I have discovered. I'll continue exploring them one by one as my hero explores things as well. Think about it, in hindsight I maybe should have equipped the hero ship with a bunch of probes so that he could also explore curiosities that are to be found in the universe. But right now I just want to scout as far and wide as possible before any before any pirates spawn, before the AI has too many ships to stop me. I just want to see everything there is to see as quickly as possible. Now I am going to use this hero as an admiral, and because right now he is just a scout, I will go ahead and give him the Cosmic Castaway ability. Boost his sight. And well, that's it, boost his sight. In the future, however, he will allow me to gain some extra experience on my ships. Moreover, because of how many systems I was able to explore already, I can use the Way of Obsidian Eagle one more time, even though I just started the game, which is a very big benefit to us and allows me to go for Center of Obsidian Eagle as quickly as possible. I'm not going to go for the Diligence ritual. It's a very powerful ritual to activate in the late game, but right now its effects would be mediocre at best. Also, in case you are confused about anything that is happening on the screen, again, I do have a short bite-sized tutorial about the Hissho on my channel. Feel free to check it out if there's anything that you don't get, or again, ask me in the comments below. I feel like I'm advertising my own channel to my own viewers a little bit too much, so I'll try to stop that now. Now, I think it's about time I try to see what other planets there are for me to potentially expand to. A lot of lava planets, a savanna planet. Let's see what there is to see on Emacs. It has a jungle and more hot planets. Generally, it seems to be a very hot place. I will go for baryonic shielding. Warp drive is almost an essential upgrade for you to have, and there is a savanna planet for me to colonize later down the line as well. Eukaryotic sap is something that I'll probably need to grab as well. There are no snow planets that I have seen. However, the ability to use the 8th Fleet fueled accelerators is, well, something that I just cannot ignore. I need to have those. Alright, let's check how well Emacs is doing. It needs 11 more turns to lower its key colonization cost to its very minimal. I could speed it up and just colonize this system already, but by doing so I'll most likely make it impossible to use Way of the Obsidian Eagle for a third time. That being said, it might be a worthwhile investment of our key resource, and I will do it just to get the system under my control faster and to get it operational as quickly as humanly possible. Now, as it usually is with hindsight, I wish I had not activated Way of the Obsidian Eagle on Ridgel, but instead activated it on my Behemoth so that the bonus would also apply to Emacs. Well, I made a mistake and it's too late to get over it now. Let's give my system a little bit more industry production by sending a probe to grab some of the lava's industry stockpiles, as Ridgel is working on all of its improvements in a relatively timely fashion. I'm not going to create a colony ship right away. This is in my agenda to create another colony ship, but I don't feel like I need to necessarily rush doing so just yet. Let's explore the Curiosity on Savannah and the other planets that I can as well. There are a lot of super spots in the vicinity, which is a little bit of an issue. Like, I don't dislike having a lot of luxury resources because I can sell them on the marketplace, but super spots are pretty bad. Not very bad, but pretty bad. However, I can make them work if I were to actually research multi-thread management, which I never knew if I am actually planning on doing. Let's keep exploring the galaxy and see everything it has to offer and find the United Empire. It seems that this is the way to one of our first targets. Very well. I'll let them colonize those systems, or planets rather. Hopefully they're going to do it for us, and then I can grab the spoils. The issue is that the United Empire is actually rather good at making sure that their planets are not taken over, as they have fearsome navy. But I'll try to deal with that by having an even more fearsome navy. And I'll also drink some tea, because that is just something that I do on this channel. I love drinking tea. I have discovered the Sahara planet of Sahar, or the other way around, and it's over in Janus. Now, Janus I can already see is a system that is worthwhile to call, maybe not so much. Sahara by itself, I mean, it is a planet that is a unique planet, so it does have an unusually high yield of resources. But none of these... Actually, the system is relatively well rounded, and I can colonize the tundra fairly quickly. I already have the technology for it. That being said, it is very far away from where I currently am. And it might be a better idea to just let some AI colonize this planet and then, again, take it away from them. Because colonizing it myself would be just a little bit too much of a hassle. I am considering it, however. If there's nothing that stands in my way, I'll just go ahead and do this. And you could got myself a new technology, and I will ignore the clever fake event. It's never worth it in my opinion. Okay. So let us go ahead and continue scouting around the galaxy, see as much as there is to see. That sounded most likely wrong. Didn't sound like something that you were supposed to say in English, but I'll just ignore that and pretend it didn't happen. Atmospheric filtration, a tempting thing indeed, but I think I need to go ahead and grab some other things. Miners' Union is even more tempting than that, as it will allow me to actually get a better stockpile of titanium than what I currently have access to. I'm not entirely sure if I'll go for efficient shielding, as honestly, I mean, it does increase the module multiplier on behemoths. So that alone makes it tempting to actually grab efficient shielding, but this is the only reason I do think about skipping small ships entirely and just go straight for the middle ones. But we will see how it goes. It depends on how many resources we find in our galaxy. There was one other thing that I wanted to consider grabbing, but I don't remember what it was, so for the time being I'm just going to ignore that. Alright, my ship needs some more probes, so I'll just have it asleep while it waits to get those. I've got my brood ship at the ready, so it can go ahead and colonize some other planet. Now the question is, where do I want to go? Matraka is a pretty good system, but I cannot colonize the lavas. However, on the other hand, Yidix, it already has a Hyperium I could start mining, and this is a rather important thing. And that is the technology I wanted to grab ASAP. So let's start by grabbing Plasma Metallurgy, so that I can start mining Hyperium at the very start of the next 10. Well, at the end of the next 10 rather. With that in mind, my key is dropping dangerously low, because I now have two planets that, are taking care, or rather, that are costing me some key due to the hatched at home law. But at the same time, those systems are growing at an unusually fast rate, and pace rather. And because I am playing against the endless AI, I do need to try to be as far ahead as humanly possible. Also, I am going to be a warmonger. Hissho are deviously powerful, stupidly strong, and really fun to play warmongers. And I am Pangolin advisor. Like pangolins that eat ants and termites, I eat basically everything there is to eat on any planet I find. So, extermination is the name of the game for me. I'm going to exterminate everything that I find just because I can and I like it. Now, I will most likely go for intensive cultivation on my home system. It's going to need that. It will power up some of our colonization efforts, and it's a cheap thing to grab because of the Way of the Obsidian Eagle. Well, I'm about to lose the Way of the Obsidian Eagle, but for the time being, I still know the way. Oh boy. I hear the memes, I remember the memes, I know the way. Now, let's ignore the memes. We don't want the memes in here. I mean, we do, let's be entirely honest about that, but we don't at the same time. How strong is the enemy ship? 36 offensive power, that's nothing, and 110 defensive. Well, my ship has no defenses whatsoever. Let's just ignore the unit Empire Scout and find the soft ones, I suppose. That is fair enough, that's another faction that I'll ignore. I'm very surprised I haven't found a single minor faction yet. By now you would think that I would find somebody, but I was unable to do just that. I wonder what gives. Anywho, let's keep exploring. Kras seems like a very nice planet to expand to if your home system is next to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if I were to find some other AI right there and then. Let us end the turn. For the time being, our key is still manageable, but I need to keep a watch of it, make sure that it doesn't drop too low, because that could be an issue. And drink some of my delicious tea. Bushir is a system already colonized by the Sophons. Good to know it's a system that I one day will have for myself. Meanwhile, I discovered camels and still no AI to see there, but that is alright. I'll scout around the outskirts of the galaxy. There's no particular reason for this, I just want to have a general sense of where any AI is when they conquer new systems. Also, Merope is a place that I could have, and Mavros are not a bad population to assimilate. Let's go ahead and praise them. Excellent. Now, do excuse me those little breaks in my commentary, but I do need to drink from time to time. Besides, I'm sure a lot of you are probably annoyed with my voice, so you appreciate the brief moments of silence when you can just listen to the game's music because its soundtrack is truly amazing. I will need the eukaryotic sap. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't, but this is just such an essential upgrade to have that I'm just going to grab it and deal with the fact that I grabbed it without knowing if I really do want it. That being said, I haven't found a single arid planet, so it should be alright. Let's go ahead and explore the last curiosity remaining over on Mataka, or however this system is supposed to be pronounced. Get ourselves a new weapon technology. Don't mind me if I grab it, it seems like a useful one to have. And actually, I just realized eukaryotic sap is all nice and dandy, but I do want to be able to make some stronger ships. And efficient shooting is also most likely going to be important for me just to have the hardened behemoths. I will use some battle behemoths, not that many, but some. I will also certainly grab the behemoth blueprints. Well, for the time being then I suppose that I can grab efficient shooting just to make it easier for me to get to the next era, as I most likely will skip every other technology that you can find in the second era of Empire development. And just because I want to proceed to the next era while grabbing behemoth blueprints, I might help the universe fulfill the behemoth quest by grabbing N-Wave fusion, because it gives me... Chingag problem will not be an issue for us, we are the Hissho. I'll grab ubiquitous surveillance, which I cannot pronounce for the life of me apparently. We don't talk to pirates because we're the Hissho, but that is alright. Let's go ahead and end our turn. And those are the election. Unfortunately for my voters, I don't have to care or worry about their demands or wishes, as I am a dictator. I just choose what I want. I could choose ecologists, which is very nice for early game. However, I don't want to colonize too many planets, to be entirely honest with you. That being said, I could send out a lot of colonization ships and just start preparing myself to colonize new planets. Which is a tempting thing indeed, but I don't really need hardship hardy for that purpose. Religious, on the other hand, what would it give me? It would give me some extra dust. Dust is always nice, but I don't want only my sonic population to increase in numbers. That being said, Righteous Fury is not a bad thing to have, and it allows me to potentially grab Admit and Improve build later down the line. Anything else that is interesting? Well, of course, the Industrialists are always a fun faction to have, because not only do they give you more dust, but they also allow you to generate more resources. And for that reason, I will most likely go for them and ignore everybody else there is. Although the Dirty Hands Act is also a tempting one, and it allows me to grab some extra science. As you can see, lots of potential options, but I already have a lot of good improvements on my systems. I am about to make some ships, so either I'll go for Jingo's Jolly Build to get access to lower fleet costs, or I'll go for Industrialists just to get more industry production. I'll go for the Industrialists. I think it's a better idea in the early game, as I'm not yet on the warpath. I will be later down the line. And I'll drink some more tea. Behemoth action complete. I'll now need for 110 for the Behemoth to recharge. Thankfully, the Empire colonized a system next to mine, and this is a sentence I would never think I would actually say in this game, as normally as other factions I hate when that happens, when AI steals a terrain that is, in my mind, rightfully mine. But we are the Hissho, and this is entirely different when you are the Hissho. As the Hissho you just want to, well, kill. And I will do just that. So let us go ahead and wish we had resources for the Endless Research Park and Endless World, but this is something we'll be able to get in a moment. For the time being, let's go ahead into our ship designs and redesign them real quick, because we have found a bunch of very nice blueprints. First of all, we've got improved high ice lugs. I don't normally enjoy kinetic weapons for anything else but defense. However, these are considerably more powerful than anything else I have. They have even more DPS type than basic fusion torpedoes, and they are, well, abysmally effective at long range, but they also serve me some defensive purposes. And they have a pretty decent amount of titanium. I don't quite remember how much I gain, how much titanium per turn I gain, but I suppose it won't hurt to go for one basic fusion torpedo, as this is yet another module I have discovered by accident per se. And then grab a bunch of high ice slugs. This will allow my ships to weaken the enemy in long range with an OK torpedo, and potentially fire between flotillas with some effectiveness, while also being devastatingly strong in close range, close quarters rather. Let's grab ourselves some armor and some shielding. I don't need to have any of the support designs, as the engines for my fleets will be provided by these support ships. So let us make sure that, I have not yet researched eukaryotic sap. I will need to get on that as quickly as possible. I would also like to advance to the third era of militaristic tree as quickly as possible, just to get my ships to level up a little bit. And also obviously get access to some better plating and weapons, but for the time being that is not absolutely or entirely necessary. I can make do with what I have. I will queue up Miners Union, however, as I want to have as much titanium as I can get my hands on. One ship requires orders, that is our Curiosity exploration ship. Very well. It found us some red sang. Red sang is an acceptable luxury resource to have. I'll have you wait now until you restock on your probes and end the turn again. Excellent. With that in mind, I can now proceed and be content, as I have found the true Horatio. Or at least they claim to be the true Horatio, but who can tell? They are all clones anyway. Well, not all of them are perfect clones, but some of them are, and this makes things confusing, but this is where the Horatio are. Don't worry, Horatio, you're very far away from me, which means that you're likely not going to die instantly. You're just going to have to wait until you die. Very well. Now, with that in mind, I can just wait for one more turn to grab eukaryotic sap, but Firstly, let's keep in mind that we have unlocked more technologies in the militaristic tree. I will want to have autonomous construction to get bigger and better fleets. Moreover, do I want anything else in particular? Well, trackable armaments is an acceptable defensive improvement to have. But that's only that, acceptable. Basic swarm missiles unfortunately do not sync with irregular missiles, making them maybe not useless but nearly useless. Well, the question is, what kind of weapon will I use the most? So far it does appear that I'm more likely to use kinetics than energy weapons. So let's queue up focused plasma for the time being. Let's also check if I can retrofit this ship a little bit to make sure that it's better defended, and indeed I should be able to do just that. Moreover, I could give it some decent energy weapons, but I still like the loadout I have on me currently. I will give this ship some better defenses, make sure it has a good amount of energy shielding, and call it a day. Meanwhile, a Kestrel. It still has to wait one more turn for eukaryotic sap. However, I can queue up a bunch of Hawks already. Let's queue up 2 of them for the time being. I'll be able to make them instantly, which is good enough. Emics will certainly need to have a little bit more of food production. It also has a life form, but I'll use a scout ship to explore it later down the line. Anything else I need to do? Well, yes, there is a ship that has restocked on its probes, and well, please do find me some curiosities. Although successful, we found some amoeba exiles. Amoeba are a fun bunch to have. I love them in Endless Space 1, and I still love them to this day. It's a shame that they don't actually exist in this universe. Anyway, let's get another Curiosity Explorer and make sure that I can find out curiosities on this system. Pro tip: it's cheaper to get a scout ship with probes than to actually explore a curiosity. As you can see, the cost of the scout ship, industry cost of the scout ship is actually lower, which is a little bit weird if you ask me. Anywho, let us end the turn. Right, speculators are buying Transvine very well. I got a diplomatic message which I accidentally ignored, but that happens, I suppose. I hope it was nothing important, but at the same time, I feel almost as if I had the Eternal War trait, so I don't particularly care if I offend anybody. I will most likely go ahead and invade United Empire sooner rather than later. Also, pirates are people that I will most likely try to clear out, but not necessarily the layers. The layers can generate more ships for me to kill, and by killing the pirate ships I can generate some more key for myself. It's a very nice cooperation we can have between me and the pirates. I kill them and in return they die. I like those kind of cooperations. They make me happy. Alright, found some coral reefs, which is unexpected on an ash planet like this, but hey, I'm not an expert, what do I know, right? Now, unfortunately, this scout ship doesn't really have any curiosities to explore anymore, not in the near vicinity, so what I'm going to do is retrofit it ever so slightly. I will give it 1 engine, just 1, that's more than enough, make it a little bit faster and allow it to scout a little bit further and go over there into the deeper bowels of the universe. Meanwhile, this scout ship, it's not going to be retrofitted. Instead, it's going to check out as many curiosities as I possibly can. So far, first of all, I want to disable this pop-out because it's somewhat annoying. So I found, let's see, science from scrap, that is alright, battle tactic. And one of my planets is irradiated. Which one is it? Don't tell me it's one that I care about. It is, oh wow. So there's a lava planet with acid rain which is also irradiated. Why would you go there? Ever? Like, I'm most likely going to colonize this planet at some point, but if I were my citizens, why, oh why would I bother to go there? It seems like the worst place to live on. Well, maybe not if you're a masochist or an emo. Not to offend any emos out there. I'm not sure if I was supposed to say that or not. Maybe it was offensive to just say that. Doesn't matter really. Let's not retrofit this ship. I'm just going to send it to play on and help United Empire discover some more curiosities. Mostly because I want the benefits of those curiosities for myself rather than letting the AI grab it themselves. Let's start gaining some more benefits from the lava planet, while I also colonize the rigid snow binary moon system. Or planet. It's not a system really, not yet at the very least. Let's end the turn. So far so good, we are progressing at a relatively fast pace, and we're achieving some wonderful progress. RNGC has been discovered. I don't particularly care about this one, but hey, it's there. We found the home system of Hissho Prime. Now finding the home systems of other empires, ooh, this is a good one, is extraordinarily important to me. Ooh, Wrath of Tonsai, I like this one. Successfully invade one system. Yes, I'm going to do that sooner rather than later. At the very least, what I was going to get at is that it's very important for us to find as many home systems as possible, as later down the line I will have my obliterators fire upon the enemy home systems and destroy them. I know that the Hissho are the best faction in the game to achieve the conquest victory, as they don't suffer any penalties due to overexpansion, aside from making it harder for them to colonize more planets. But who needs to colonize when you can conquer planets? However, supremacy has become also much easier and more fun to get when you can just destroy enemy home systems and keep yours as the only one left in the galaxy. With that being said, I'm going to drink some more tea. Excellent, my hero has leveled up. I can give him another level of cosmic gas, the way allowing him to be a little bit of a better scout. I will reassign him to an actual fleet so that he can start leveling up my ships at some point, but not yet, and I found a dead end. Well, at least I know that there is a dead end over there. And I found the Deviants. I will not be able to grab them. The real Horatio are going to get on that, if they are real indeed. In my mind, they are fake. All of them are fake. They're imposters, every single one of them. The only beautiful thing in this galaxy is... insert some clever pun or meme. I don't know. I don't know beauty, I only know death and distractions, and it's really, really sad. I'm not going to cry, however. I'm a big boy, I'm a big pangolin. Anywho, let us continue on by creating our support ship for the Aegis. For the time being, I can only make a small ship, and I'm going to give it as many H-fuel fleet accelerators as I can fit on it. And then, just for good measure, add in one single high ice slug so that it can defend itself a little bit, as well as maybe shoot down some incoming projectiles. Now unfortunately this ship will get fired upon quite, well, frequently, so I am considering giving it a little bit of shielding just to make sure it doesn't die instantly from energy weapons. Especially since, yeah, let us do just that. So it's still going to give me a considerable amount of extra speed, if even just one of those ships. But now it's also going to not die instantly, as it has a little bit of extra HP in the form of a shielding, and it can absorb some of the energy weaponry that the enemy may have. Maybe not necessarily the most optimal way of doing things, but it is not a bad way either, I dare say. Let's grab 2 Kestrels, except I can only afford 1 as they cost a lot of Hyperium. And actually, I will not pick any right now because I need the Endless Research Pack and Endless World. So I will in fact redesign them for now and just make them have maybe like 1 Hyperium, and I'll think about it. I'll deal with that later. For the time being, let us just make more Hawks. How many Hawks can I have? Well, I can have 7. So I can have 4, 5... Alright, I'll have 5 Hawks and then 2 support ships to, well, support these Hawks. Excellent. Edicts probably cannot really be colonized just yet because I don't have enough key. I mean, I do have enough key, but using it would make my people very unhappy. That being said, I am considering doing it just so that I can increase the rate at which I can use edicts. Also, why does the game lag every time I zoom in on the edicts? I do not know. Anyway, I will continue this outpost. I'll grab it as soon as possible. And this is really weird that the game starts to lag the way it is currently. Well, that is alright, purely because I am about to call it a day on my very first part of this video. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, if I can, yeah, I said I need to end recording right now and reset my PC or something. If you enjoyed this series, please continue watching it. However, there is a little caveat. Yes, there is a caveat, in that I will pause the series not only on this channel but also on my old channel. This is to increase transparency and make sure that everybody realizes that I now have 2 channels instead of just 1, and that I have moved most of my primary Forex content onto the new channel. So if you're looking for part 2 of this video, go head on back to my old channel, that being Panchasu, and then the third part of the series will be posted on my new channel, Pangolin Advisor, once more. There will of course be a playlist as well for you to follow to make things more convenient. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you online.